time, memory, dreams, guilt, chaos.
I don't need a killer's attention, so if you claim what I said was false, stand up, get up and descend on me. You actually killed your friend. End of quote. These were the accusations made against the former Sunderland and Ghana's captain, GYAN, after his friend and one of the most decorated Ghanaian rappers, Castro, went missing. So how did Ghana's brightest star vanish into thin air, and why would their biggest football icon have something to do with it?
Here's a chase for GYAN, he's 1-on-2, it is GYAN, he is in the area, he scores!
Go. Obi Antone Coalition. Obi Antone Coalition. Yeah.
This is the most viewed Ghanaian song on YouTube. However, a mere month after the 2014 hit song featuring Castro was uploaded on YouTube, Castro would strangely disappear. It's been 8 years and 9 months. No one knows what happened. From tales that he is still alive to speculations of witchcraft. This story has seen so many theories. And trust me, you will need to stick around for the second theory. On May 1st, 1982, in Takoradi, a place in the western regions of Ghana, an accountant and a trader would give birth to Theophilus Tago, or Castro. His interest in music would start at a tender age of 10, though he would have to wait 10 more years before he had a hit song. In 2003, Castro would rise to fame with a hit song, which was in the album, an album which today it is considered a classic.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
In a decade, he would win numerous awards. One of the many awards he won was with the 2011 smash hit, which strangely featured the Ghanaian footballer and captain GYAN.
I tell you, say I dey conquer. You dey see them, I watch them, they wonder. Now maybe the.
In fact, it was one of the 3 albums the two recorded together. The two were close friends and used to go on holidays together. On the summer of 2013, the two had visited Akosombo. The year is 2014, the two are planning to visit the same destination. However, since the yacht at Akosombo was broken down, the boys had to change their destination, preferring Ada, a town on the southeast coast of Ghana. At the time, GYAN was representing Ghana at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. A week before GYAN returned to Ghana, he would receive a call from his friend Castro telling him that he would not make the trip because he was attending a friend's burial. Indeed, a day before GYAN went to Ada, Castro would visit GYAN at his house to wish him a safe journey since he would not be joining the boys. But on their way to Ada, GYAN would receive a phone call from Castro. Castro had bizarrely changed his mind and wanted to come with the boys to Ada. GYAN and the boys parked at the fuel station and waited for him. The visit was supposed to last 3 days. Castro was accompanied by his girlfriend Janet Bandu, while GYAN was in the company of his brother and some of his friends. The first day went fine, however the second day, disaster would strike. On July 6th, 2014, the group went for jet skiing. Castro's girlfriend would request to go for a ride with Castro. The two hopped on a ski and sped off into the depths of waters. That would be the last moment the two were ever seen. Bizarrely, Janet, his girlfriend, was not wearing a life jacket. The police and the marine would recover the ski, but the two, to this date, have never been found. And with that, we get into the conspiracy theories. Let's start with the wildest theory. They say once is an incident, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern, but 4? 2010, after the World Cup in Germany, GYAN throws a party where Isaac Vossa's brother, Joshua Vossa, dies at 19 through poisoning. 2012, after the AFCON, GYAN was driving with some of his friends when they knock a guy down. The guy is pronounced dead. The same year, GYAN loses his mother in a tragic accident after she drives her car into a pillar. 2014, after the World Cup, Castro and his girlfriend dies while on holiday with GYAN. Coincidence? Well, some people don't see it that way and believe he sacrificed his friend Castro to better his career. The theory became so common that the Ghanaian police launched an investigation against the GYAN brothers. To start with, GYAN has at one point acknowledged juju or black magic and even admitting to have taken part in a ritual birth as a young player. Speaking to Dan Kwaku, GYAN said, quote, "With Seda we did it once or twice," end of quote, and quote, "A man told us to do something for 2 goals, sometimes with a padlock," end of quote. Indeed, a year after Castro's disappearance, GYAN's career would turn out to be better. In 2015, he signed for a Chinese club for a whopping £227,000 per week. This is more than Willian, Kane and Coutinho at the time combined. That same year would see the Ghanaian skipper, GYAN, lead his team to the AFCON finals. To the final straw that broke the camel's back, in September of 2014, a month after Castro's tragedy, in a pre-match interview, a reporter asked, quote, "It has nothing to do with the upcoming match, but I wish to appeal to ASAMOAH GYAN to clear the air. There is the allegation that you sacrificed Castro for whatever reason," end of quote. This did not sit well with GYAN and he tried to confront
the reporter,
only to be restrained. 2 days while picking up his accreditation for the Uganda match, the reporter would be brutally attacked by a group of men who were alleged to be paid by GYAN's brother. Describing the tackle, Daily Graphic paper says, "Since last Friday's attack, Mr. Kenu, the reporter, has been in so much pain, particularly in the head," end quote. "The incident would have been fatal if not for the intervention," end of quote. The reporter would eventually open charges against GYAN's brother.
"You are going to be placed under arrest. You have the right to remain."
And although at this point you are totally sold out that GYAN had a hand in the strange disappearance of Castro, maybe not so fast. 1. The location where Joshua Vosa died remains sketchy, and whether GYAN was present has never been confirmed. 2. The second death, where it is alleged they knocked a man out, it is just a hearsay with no substantiable evidence. And yes, we may never know whether Castro's vanishing was a sinister move, but it sounds ridiculous that GYAN sacrificed his close friend for a better career, considering even before Castro's disappearance, GYAN had a relatively successful career. In 2010, GYAN and the BLACKSTARS would finish as runners-up in the AFCON. Months later, the group would reach the quarterfinals of the World Cup, with GYAN scoring a spectacular late goal versus United States.
Who's onside? It's ASAMOAH. It's 2-1 Ghana.
That year would also see him become Sunderland's most expensive player.
Into added time. And from Sunderland to Wonderland.
In fact, his best season came in 13-14 season, a year before Castro's disappearance.
Sense of adventure now. It's suddenly through for GYAN.
Not to add on the fact that GYAN had to be hospitalized after receiving news of Castro's disappearance, which takes us to a second and a more surprising theory. Castro died because of his own witchcraft. Speaking to Plaza FM, Prophet Samuel Bafo, a radio prophet on Channel R, noted that Castro's drowning was because of his bad, evil ways. Nana Katikie, speaking on Adiepa FM, claimed that, quote, "Castro came to me some years back for some black magic to help him and Abo become a music star. He was supposed to come back and thank the gods after 5 years, but he refused," end of quote. And although we may rule them out as just another attention-seeking clout chasers, there are chilling details that will make you give their version of the story the benefit of the doubt. At the height of his career, a female diviner broke the news that Castro had sought a black magic service, but he failed to pay for the service and ghosted her. To clear the incident, in January of 2012, Castro, speaking to OK FM, he said, quote, "The issue is true, but I was not the one who went to the spiritualist. A close friend of mine did it on my behalf," end of quote. And that, quote, "he was the same friend who introduced me to the spiritualist," end of quote. Castro would however deny that the rituals done were black magic, claiming that, quote, the place was more of a Christian church than a juju shrine, end of quote. Though it is important to note that some of the items that were used were apparently a bottle of alcohol, which is not common in churches. Let's begin with the fact that until 2021, Castro was not declared dead by the government. This is mainly due to the fact that in Ghana, until a body is discovered, one cannot be declared dead until 7 years have elapsed. One particular theory comes from a self-proclaimed spiritualist who claimed that Castro was not dead, but rather he has been carried away by a mermaid wife for her own reasons. How long will it take? She said, quote, some take 3 years, some 14 years, even 21 years, some even 6 months or 3 days, end of quote. End quote, it all depends on the purpose for which he was sent there, end of quote. The final theory is that Castro and Janet drowned. The assumption is the two leaped in the ski with Castro in control and Janet sitting behind him, holding him tightly around the waist. The ski is believed to have been moving at 1 or 5 kilometers per hour. Since the two were at the ocean during July, a season of maximum wave generation, at the junction where the river diverges, they might have encountered a heavy wave that would temporarily lift the ski into the sky at least 3 meters above the water surface. During that jump, Janet might have lost her grip and tossed into the cold waters. Since she was not wearing a life jacket, Castro might have jumped into the waters to try and save his girlfriend. It was at that moment the ski might have been carried by the wave, leaving the two stranded. The two would be dragged inside Atlantic Ocean, which means there is a chance that the bodies of the two lie at the depths of Atlantic Ocean. On June 8, 2021, at exactly 12 p.m, Castro and Janet Bandu will be officially declared dead by the court. However, not all people see it just as another tragic accident. From speculations that his friend and Ghana's former captain GYAN sacrificed him, claims that he died because of witchcraft, to theories of a mermaid abduction, what happened to Ghana's poster boy Theophilus Tago, or Castro and his girlfriend Janet Bandu remains unknown.
Keep me